everybody, what's going on? I am Gregg Sussman, joined today by Jim Sonis of FanDuel. We're here to wrap up our Week 4 DFS preview. What's going on, Jim?
Not too much, Greg. A pretty interesting Week 4 slate with all these potential shootouts on tap, which means we've got to find access to upside. We can't be going with guys with good floors. Floors are irrelevant in DFS in 2020. We just want ceiling, and hopefully we can find some stacks here that get you access to said ceilings.
So, would you have any interest in stacking Danny Dimes, huh?
With his like negative 15-point implied total, you know, I might want to stay away from that one. That is a very interesting sweater, though.
I was so excited to show this to you just for your reaction. And you did not let me down at any point.
Rams defense, Greg. Rams defense.
You got to go with the Rams defense. The biggest surprise today for me isn't that you don't have Danny Dimes as one of your stacks. It's that I feel like Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett are missing here. What's going on?
Well, we just had only 3 slots, and I think I've discussed them each of the first 3 weeks, or the 2 weeks they've been on the main slate. So I guess we're taking a short hiatus, but like they're still like Russ. You can make a case that if like DeAndre Hopkins doesn't play, Russell Wilson's the number 1 quarterback on the slate. So I think the edict here is use Russell Wilson until we tell you not to, which means just use him once again this week, paired with either Metcalf or Lockett.
That's all I was looking for, Jim. Just letting me know that I could play Russell Wilson with Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf, to stack them up, that they may still be the best combination. I'm good now. See, you can play Russell Wilson and you can play DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett with them seemingly any week. And you can do the same pretty much always with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. They are your first stack here this week in Week 4 for the Dallas Cowboys. Dak has been otherworldly. Zeke wasn't great last week, still did get in the end zone, but you're stacking both of them together here in Week 4. It's your favorite stack. How come?
It's a little bit of a hedge here because Odell Beckham is banged up now for Cleveland. Kareem Hunt is banged up too. So we could see a scenario where the Cowboys pull away. Now, the bookmaker odds have not shifted too much on this game yet. So it seems like the bettors aren't too concerned about Beckham's health and the health of the Browns offense in general. But I do have some concerns if Beckham can't go about the way this game may land. But if you use Dak paired with Zeke, you're benefiting no matter what game script this is. If they have to pass a lot, you're going to get a lot of production out of both Dak and Zeke. But if they're running a lot, you get the Zeke production as well. And there's also quite a bit of double dip potential here because Zeke has 16% of the team's overall targets to the first 3 games. He has 17% of the red zone targets as well. So it kind of alleviates a lot of headaches to pair these 2 guys together. I think that Zeke, like we talked about with Russell Wilson, among the best players on this slate from a positional perspective. I think it's Zeke, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, all at the top of this tier. But I might put Zeke number 1. He is at home in a projected shootout. I will always take that for sure. Tyron Smith got in a limited practice on Thursday. That could be a huge boost to this offense as well. So I kind of think that in order to safeguard ourselves from potential game script here with this Cowboys offense and benefit every time the Cowboys move the football, I think pairing Dak Prescott with Zeke Elliott makes a lot of sense once again on Sunday.
We're in line for whichever the game script is here on Sunday. If it's a shootout, well, we got Dak Prescott going head-to-head with Baker Mayfield. And if it's a game where the Cowboys get out ahead and are up big, we have Ezekiel Elliott as well. Pairing Zeke and Dak for America's team, well, seems like a surefire way to cash on Sunday. As we mentioned earlier, DeAndre Hopkins, he may not play this weekend. We'll see the practice report on Friday. But we've paired Kyler Murray and Kenny and Drake before. And as people that have rostered Kenny and Drake this year and used them in DFS, we're still kind of waiting for this breakout game for Drake, right? We're still waiting for him to show us what he did last year. The touches have been there, the snaps have been there, but the production hasn't really yet. Now, Kyler's been awesome. And this week, maybe it's the week where they both go off.
Yeah, facing the Panthers can cure a lot of ills because we saw Austin Eckler with kind of similar concerns to Kenny and Drake heading into last week. And Eckler got 11 targets in that game. Part of that might have been Justin Herbert, but it was really good production. And he also did convert on those targets too with 84 receiving yards in that game. Now, Drake is not the same passing game threat as Austin Eckler is. He's been losing routes to Chase Edmonds, but with DeAndre Hopkins not at full health, that may increase the odds that Drake gets targeted on the routes that he does run. That's a bump up for him in addition to the matchup here. I do think Kyler Murray would get a pretty decent downgrade if DeAndre Hopkins were to sit, we can still use him because we're not going to Kyler Murray for passing efficiency. We're going there in large part because of the rushing. This year, he has averaged 8.7 rush attempts per game, more than 60 rushing yards per game. Last year, he ran just 5.7 times per game. So it's a pretty big bump up for Kyler Murray, and that impacts both his floor and his upside. So yes, I would downgrade Kyler Murray if DeAndre Hopkins can't go. If Hopkins is a full go, I would say that Murray is my number one quarterback of the slate. If Hopkins can't go, I'd bump him down behind both Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott among the higher salary quarterbacks. But I'd still be in on Murray because the rushing production has been there, because the matchup is so good. So Murray is somewhere between first and third for me in quarterback, among quarterbacks for this week, because the rushing has been so good, because his matchup is so good. I think that pairing him with Drake does alleviate a lot of the concerns around where the targets may go if DeAndre Hopkins is not at full health.
Like we said, we're waiting on DeAndre Hopkins. We'll see what happens. Obviously, he practices Friday. That'll put him in line to play this weekend, but it remains to be seen. So Murray, yes, he won't be as enticing, but he'll certainly be somebody that is worth starting because what he can do with his legs is, well, worth it to put him in your FanDuel lineup. And Kenyon Drake, well, the Panthers cure all. So let's take advantage of that here on Sunday. One final stack to mention, and that brings us to the Detroit Lions with Matthew Stafford and Kenny Golladay. Golladay returned to the lineup last week for Detroit and found the end zone. Stafford getting his favorite wide receiver back will help the offense in a multitude of ways.
Yeah, and it's not just Golladay coming back. It's also Michael Thomas being back. We talked about this with the Cowboys blur, where we like the Cowboys more if Odell Beckham plays. We like the Lions more if Michael Thomas plays, because what that does is it increases the odds that this game shoots out. If the Saints score a lot of points, the Lions have to score a lot of points too to keep pace. That is a good thing for Matthew Stafford and Kenny Golladay. And like you said, getting Golladay back, a pretty big boon for Matthew Stafford in week number 3. He had 0.28 passing net expected points per dropback, according to numberFire's metrics. The league average this year is around 0.15, so about double the league average in efficiency. Last year, when Golladay was healthy, we saw Stafford go deep at a very high rate. Didn't do that in week number 3, but I think as he goes back home, we should expect that that aggressiveness to go back up for Matthew Stafford. Golladay himself did look pretty healthy in that game. He had 7 total targets. 2 of those were deep. And as you said, he did score the touchdown as well. And the Saints defense, they haven't really been the same force that they have been in previous years. Marshawn Lattimore taking a step back. We saw Derek Carr go off against them 2 weeks ago. And Matthew Stafford, I would say, is better than Derek Carr. So I do think that Stafford is my favorite among the lower salary quarterbacks. And I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick's probably going to be the guy who gets the most attention, which is justified. Fitzpatrick is really fun. He runs quite a bit. That's good. It's a game that I think should shoot out as well. But Stafford checks a lot of the same boxes. He is a slight home favorite facing a defense we can target. And I think that Stafford's going to come in at lower popularity than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, you could also say similar things about Joe Burrow and Teddy Bridgewater. So it's not a bad week to spend down at quarterback. I'd prefer to go with guys like Murray, Prescott, and Wilson. But I think that the lower salary quarterbacks have something to say here too. And among those guys, Stafford is number 1 for me due to projected popularity and the fact that he's got his star receiver back in the fold.
Yeah, Stafford makes a lot of sense in this game that could get away from Detroit relatively early if Michael Thomas is back at full health and Drew Brees is cooking. We'll see. But with the combination of Matthew Stafford and Kenny Golladay, you'll be in a good spot and you'll save quite a bit of money at the quarterback spot, allowing you to pay up for some of the guys that Tom and I spoke about earlier this week, which should cash you here on FanDuel on Sunday. So we hope. That's going to do it for us here at the FanDuel Hurry Up. Jim, we appreciate the time. Good luck in week number 4.
Thank you, Greg. You as well. And I'm looking forward to wrapping things up on Monday to give the winners of week number 4 from a DFS perspective.
We're all winners here, Jim, because Adam Gase isn't setting our lineups. For Jim Sonnes, I am Gregg Sussman. Have an awesome week 4. Enjoy the games. We'll see you back here on Monday to talk about the winners and recap it all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.